Hello and welcome to Todd Rolls Dice, where we have our first preview of the Codex supplement of the week. Hopefully there's going to be another one. From what I've seen, the article doesn't actually say, but usually with these things, if they're releasing two Codexes, Battle Tomes, types of these books, we get two previews for each. Again, hopefully that is the case because I do want to know more. But this one we're going to take a look at the Black Templars. Forget oaths of moment. Swear a Templar vow today. All Space Marines take their oaths seriously, but few hold them in such reverence as the Black Templars. They spend the hours before battle in deep prayer and contemplation before declaring an unbreakable vow before the God Emperor and their brothers. Their ancestral vows are so important that they forgo the usual Space Marine playbook in favour of an army rule that better fits the Black Templar modus operandi, backed up by 3 new detachments. So this is a huge increase in what the Black Templars are going to be able to do. Hopefully it keeps them in a competitive state. But you never know with GW rules. Each vow is a solemn do-or-die promise to perform in the eyes of the Emperor. God Emperor, don't you mean? Black Templars follow their chosen Templar vow with unshakable conviction, never keeping their eyes off the prize even as other Space Marines chop and change their Oath of Moment target from turn to turn. Interesting twist. So we have 4 options here. Right, let's read this bit and then we'll come back to this bit. This rule replaces the regular Oath of Moment army rule shared by other Space Marine chapters and gives Sigismund's heirs a wider suite of abilities to pick from at the start of a game. Crusades going up against high toughness units like Chaos Knights and big Tyranid beasties can pick accept any challenge no matter the odds to improve their wound rolls, while enemy psychers live in mortal fear of a Bother Witch destroy the witch. To access Templar vows, all you need to do is include units with the Black Templars faction keyword in your army, or pick from one of 3 detachments found in their Codex supplement. You'll have to abide by a few restrictions, no psychers naturally, and they're all laid out neatly in the new Heirs of Sigismund rule. So we'll do Heirs of Sigismund and then we'll come back to what the army rules actually are. Before we go any further, can I just say, I am not religious. I don't buy into that fervent religious nature of Black Templars, the Battle Sisters of Battle, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't really work for me. But there's something about the Black Templar models that just looks so amazing. And they have their own way, their own style of doing things, their own take. They're one of the most unique chapters out there. I know they're a second founding, but still, there's something just incredibly fascinating about their models, their lore, how they do business. When you think that they came from the Imperial Fists, it's a complete change in how the traditional loyalist first founding chapter does battle, really, isn't it? So this is fascinating that they're actually giving them more identity, and I love that we are getting chapters that have restrictions on units that they wouldn't use anyway. I wish they'd done more of this with Space Wolves. Maybe not restrict the HQ choices that they've done, which is mind-boggling to me, but I do quite like that they're starting to play with this idea. They should do it more. But let's get into Heirs of Sigismund. So if an Adeptus Astartes unit has a second faction keyword on its datasheet, that faction keyword is the name of the unit's chapter. For example, High Marshal Helbrecht has both the Adeptus Astartes and Black Templars faction keywords, and is therefore from the Black Templar chapter. We know this. You cannot include units from more than one chapter in your army. Again, that's nothing new. If your army includes one or more units from the Black Templars chapter, or you are using one of the detachments found in the following pages, Adeptus Astartes units from your army lose the Oath of Moment army rule if they have it, and it is replaced with the Templars Vow army rule, which we'll get onto. And you cannot use the 1st Company Task Force detachment, see Codex Space Marines. So the 1st Company is the one focused on 1st Company veterans, so obviously the Templars don't follow that structure. I like that. Your army cannot include any Adeptus Astartes Psyker models, and your army cannot include the following datasheets from Codex Space Marines: Gladiator Lancer, Gladiator Reaper, Gladiator Valiant, Impulsor, Land Raider Crusader, Repulsor, Repulsor Executioner, Stern Guard Veteran. Interesting that it's tanks. Mostly. But again, it probably fits. Black Templar fans, let me know about those restrictions. Does that make sense for how you would run a Black Templar army in the lore? over to the army rules. So we have 4 that we can see here. Abhor the witch, destroy the witch. Each time this unit declares a charge, if 1 or more targets of that charge have the Psyker keyword, you can reroll the charge roll. Melee weapons equipped by models in this unit have the precision ability when targeting Psyker units. That's definitely a kill the Psyker option, isn't it? I like it. Accept any challenge no matter the odds. Each time this unit makes a melee attack, if the strength characteristic of that attack is less than or equal to the toughness characteristic of the target, add 1 to the wound roll. That's quite a nice little bit of extra way of doing damage, isn't it? I quite like that. So you're always going to wound on a 5, regardless of what you're going up against. Suffer not the unclean to live. This unit is eligible to declare a charge in a turn in which it fell back. Black Templars don't fall back. And each time a model in this unit makes a pile-in or consolidation move, it does not need to end that move closer to the closest enemy model, provided it ends that move as close as possible to the closest enemy unit. Interesting. A little bit of fight phase movement shenanigans. Not sure how useful that will be, but it's definitely interesting. And uphold the honor of the Emperor. If this unit has the inventory keyword, at the end of your command phase, if this unit is within range of an objective marker you control, that objective marker remains under your control until your opponent's level of control over that objective marker is greater than yours at the end of the phase. So it gives you sticky objectives. And if the mission you are playing features actions, this unit is eligible to start to perform an action in a turn in which it advanced. Okay, so it gives your inventory sticky objectives and actions even though they've advanced, which usually you can't. Quite useful utility extras, especially if you're just working to score more primary points than your opponent. I'd say that all of these are actually quite useful in their own way. Depending on how you implement them, there's a case for each one of them. I really like Accept Any Challenge, Abhor the Witch against Psykers. Thousand Suns will cry when you use that against them, probably. Really like Accept Any Challenge, but the other two, depending on what you're playing, who you're playing, very useful. Okay, I like it. As in previous codex supplements, several datasheets, such as Gladiator Tanks and Sternguard Veterans, have their own Black Templars version with different rules and weapon options, so the originals cannot be taken in these army. Templars respect the rule of 3, but that is how it should be. If a chapter has a specific type or variant of unit that no other chapter has access to, they should only use that one. I'm fine with that. That makes sense. This new flexibility gives the Black Templars more ways to channel their zeal than simply hacking anything funny looking to pieces. Those who adopt the new Vindication Task Force detachment see it as their holy quest to reclaim and purify the God Emperor's rightful domain, and they're so dedicated to their mission that Crusader squads will actually give up the chance to get closer to their foes if it puts them nearer to an objective instead. What a madness. Okay, so Vindication is all about holding objectives, which will tie in with Uphold the Honor of the Emperor. Their detachment rule: Purge and Sanctify. Each time an attack targets an ancient unit from your army, if that unit is within range of 1 or more objective markers, and the strength characteristic of that attack is greater than the toughness characteristic of that unit, subtract 1 from the wound roll. I like that little twist on it. If the strength is higher than your toughness, -1 to wound. It's not a blanket -1 to wound, but it's very useful in certain situations. Space Wolves have a lot of that on their Terminators and a couple of other things, I think. I think that is a really nice way of having a -1 to wound option, so I like that. Also, each time a Crusader squad unit from your army makes a Righteous Zeal move, that unit can end that move as close as possible to the closest objective marker instead of as close as possible to the closest enemy unit. Definitely pushing for those objectives. That's quite a nice little spin on Crusader squads as well, I think. There's also a great way to take the new Crusade Ancient for a spin, as lots of the detachments, enhancements and stratagems use units with the Ancient keyword as the linchpin for an impenetrable defensive strategy. Layer up their detachment rule with a consecrating aura to make a big bodyguard squad of 20 Crusaders extra difficult to shift. Gross. And keep Refusal to Yield on hand, just in case someone snipes the boss out from his squad. is incredible value for just a single command point. So, Consecrating Aura, this is the enhancement. Adeptus Astartes model only. Models in the bearer's unit have a 5-up invul save. It's respectable. It's very respectable. And it also gives you access to Refusal to Yield. We haven't seen this before, have we? An enhancement giving you a bonus and special access to a stratagem. I think this is new. I really like it because it lets you build into things. But Refusal to Yield for 1 CP when any phase just after an ancient model from your army is destroyed. Target that ancient model. You can use this stratagem on that model even though it was just destroyed. Effect: at the end of the phase, set your model back up on the battlefield as close as possible to where it was destroyed, but not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units, with its full wounds remaining. Oh, nice! Restrictions: you cannot target the same model with this stratagem more than once per battle. So for however much that enhancement costs, it gives your bodyguard squad and that model a 5-up invul and a 1 CP stratagem of just bring the ancient back on full wounds. So this is me during the edit process. Having listened back to what I said and reread this, I'm not actually sure what's going on here now. So what I actually think is happening is you have an enhancement that gives you the 5-up invul for that unit, and despite this all being the same piece of text, I think the same picture, I think there's meant to be a bit of a break there and the stratagem is separate, so it isn't an enhancement that gives you access to the stratagem. It's an enhancement and a stratagem from the same detachment, and they've just made it look like it's all one thing to me. I don't think there is anything new here. If you take it the original way that I thought it was, whereas it was an enhancement that gave you the stratagem, let me know in the comments below. I don't think it is that. I think I misunderstood it, but they could have shown it off better. But that's a recurring theme with WarCom at the minute, isn't it? So that's just a quick update. Hopefully, I mean, one of those options is right. It's either an enhancement that gives you a stratagem, or it's an enhancement and a stratagem from the same detachment. I'm going with the latter. Let me know what you think. Back to the rest of the video. So they would come back with full wounds, but they wouldn't have a 5-up invul, and they wouldn't be giving them models, because they're outside of a unit, so none of that would work. So the enhancement is completely burned when you use that, but it's burned when you lose that model anyway. I really don't like this, models in the bearer's unit. I think it should be this unit and models in the bearer's unit, or this model and models in the bearer's unit, I think. Just so you're taking an enhancement that that character always has access to. Either way, I think it's quite nice, just as a one-off enhancement to see what's going on with this. I think it's good. Obviously, take all of this with a pinch of salt because we need to know what's going on with the rest of the stuff. This might be the best stratagem in there by a long way, or the best enhancement in there by a long way. It's definitely interesting and I like what it does, and it completely fits the narrative idea of what the Black Templars do. This detachment pairs wonderfully with Uphold the Honour of the Emperor, as we've mentioned, Templar Vow, as it gives all your inventory sticky objectives, supercharging your ability to take and hold ground with big, resilient Crusader squads. That's not to say you can't just pitch a horde of screaming Templars into the melee, and the Champions of Vehemence detachment gets you there fast with important rerolls for all of your charge and advance moves. That's quite a strong ability. Reroll, advance and charge. Finally, the Godhammer Assault Force is for those who think that walking is too mundane for the Emperor's own angels, and would rather hurl them up the battlefield in the safety of an armoured transport. Many of its rules have a little extra oomph if a target hopped out of a transport that turn, and if that doesn't make you see endless squadrons of land raiders disgorging sword brethren when you close your eyes, you need to indulge your imagination. They always like a detachment that brings vehicles in, and makes vehicles much more usable, don't they? Oh, is this it? You'll be able to get your own crusade going when the Black Templar pre-orders go up on the Warhammer website this Saturday. We covered it in last night's preview. Black Templars and Grey Knights are going up for pre-order this weekend with a couple of other combat patrols. This sounds pretty good, and for my limited knowledge of what the Black Templars actually do, this completely fits. They're an incredible model range, so distinctive, incredible colour scheme. I love black and red, it's one of my favourite colour schemes. All of this sounds great, and all of this is what I want to see in a codex supplement to really make them different from codex Space Marines. I don't quite know how the restrictions will interfere with list building. It might already be that these are already restricted from their own detachment, or that you're just not taking these anyway. But they have their own twist on what's restricted, so they still have access to tanks. So that's all good. Yeah, I mean, all of this sounds very nice. I like enhancements that give you that little bit extra. It doesn't say we're going to get another preview though, and they've gone over quite a few things here. We've had army rule and we've had detachments. Hopefully we will get more. It sounds like we won't, but hopefully we will. Maybe they're going to do quite a lot for Grey Knights. Maybe it's an incredible codex. Hopefully they've got some love through the rules. But this sounds great. For Black Templars, I think this sounds fantastic. Black Templar players, let me know what you think of this one, because that's more important than my take. Love to know your thoughts in the comments below. We will be covering other preview articles and things as they come out, so if anything else Black Templars does come out, I'll do a video on it this week. I have a couple of other bits coming for Space Marines. I want to do a bit more with my Space Wolves as well. Keep an eye out for that if you're interested. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.